Assalamu alaikum. I'm Sara Ali, Assistant Professor at Quaid-e-Azam University. It's an honor for me today to moderate a session on a collection of books, Bhadon, by Madiha Arsalan. It's such an interesting feeling because a few years ago when I was actually attending one of these sessions, I remember one of the writers said, it's an age of prose. And today I'm sitting here and I saw 3 launches today. And I think I can confidently say today, it is age of poetry now. Now I will get on to the introduction. Excuse me. Can we have silence, please? Thank you. Okay. They are taking. Born and raised in Karachi, Madiha Arsalan is an educationist and a writer. She contributes book reviews, travel logs to different English newspapers. For example, The News, The Friday Times, and The Nation. She has worked as a creative consultant under USAID projects. Madiha also runs a not-for-profit initiative, Lead Links, to promote art and culture and community level. In my opinion, she is a writer whose heart and mind are both alive, pulsing, and synchronized. Our second panelist, Isma Saadat, is an educationist, has been affiliated with Karachi University. She has done her postgraduate education from UK and Holland. She runs a learning platform for out-of-school kids, QBS Home for Amazing Kids. She blogs real-life stories of these kids on QBS Home Diaries. I will begin with a small review of the collection to give you a glimpse into Madiha's work. One of her poems forms a dialogue with Amrita Pritam's Main Tenu Phir Milangi, and another poem is a reflection on Manto's work. Before asking questions, I will request Madiha to please read a poem from her collection to give us a glimpse into her creative mind.
Thank you so very much, Sara. What could be a better way to introduce a writer than to read the work from the book? Reasoning. Who introduced these morals? Ethics which tear you apart. Conscience, like vulture, hang on your stars, abrading slowly, painfully, my heart, prolonging each wound, savoring bloody gash, devouring tears and hurt, infections which don't repair, breaking, demolishing self, pouring acid on cuts, smoke that lingers on my breasts, distinctive deep aroma of caress, rhapsody of your touch, parodies on my lips your lips claim, constricting, clogging, lifeline slain, standing, falling, melting, senseless, sensuous affair, cream horns, sweet luscious, crumbs that cover this fare, stove burning cinders blushing, felt a sudden urge, running out to clear the fog, the mist, seeking warmth, lurking to breathe. I suddenly stand aware that reality mixes with fiction. Spare me some contradiction, perhaps only my figment of imagination, literally destroying my conviction. Pain consumes me physically, not only in addiction. Neither only in my head causing all friction. This pain, yearn, and belief is coefficient, engaging in a game of thorns. I'm merely a mere attribution. What was the purpose of crucifixion? Is my truth and your truth a mix of chemical composition? Reality or just another fiction? Corrupting all justifications. Thank you. Here's another one, Sara, that I would like to introduce my book with. It's a very small one. And it's the first poem of my book. Pick up my feet, place them on your chest. Move my constitution, do not let love go to waste. Trembling, quivering, quakes, from side to side waves. Butterfly brutally fluttering in my breast, your lips on mine haste. I'm buzzing in the woods, croaking in the moors. I'm buzzing in the woods, croaking in the moors, forgotten who I am, forgotten who I am. Kamli at your door, Kamli at your door. Thank you.
So the first time I looked at your book, my first question was, and this is going to be the first question, why the title Bhadon? Is it what kind of, because naming your book, your first book is like naming your first child. There's always an emotional affiliation with it. There's always an interesting story behind it. So why Bhadon? What's about this season, this time of the year? Does it resonate with your creative process, or were these the feelings you were feeling at that time? What's the story? You tell us.
So each one of us know Bhadon in Pakistan. We are very well aware of the humidity, the claustrophobic feeling, the precipitation. And since I hail from Karachi, this precipitation is throughout the year. And when we were growing up, my early childhood was during a martial law. We are very well aware of Zia-ul-Haq's times. And then in Karachi, we had the early breakage of this disease of Afghan war, which inflicted us all with weapons and drugs. And Karachi was the victim, the first victim in Pakistan. Then going to the university, we had rangers all around us. We couldn't move, we couldn't say what we wanted to. And it was like, your emotions, your thoughts, they're all there, but you had to box them. And the feeling of claustrophobia generated this work of mine. I thought about getting it published for 3 years, and then suddenly, the elder one of our children, he said, this is your time now, just come out. So I feel that it is a break from that claustrophobia, and it is putting my word forward. Thank you.
So my next question is, what were your aspirations? Because I saw you getting emotional while talking about your book, so it means writing is something that is very, very important to you. So what were your aspirations? Where did the impulse to write come from? And is it like because a lot of people, when they say that, we write, we edit, and we go through drafts, and then we publish it. Was it like this for you? What is your writing process? Is it like it flows, or you have to work hard for it?
Ara, it may sound as if I am, trying to portray that I'm such a big poet or something, or I'm praising myself. It may sound like that, but it's nothing at all that way. Words naturally come to me; they flow to me, and my family and my friends are quite aware of this phenomena. When the words start flowing into me, and I'm unable to compose them, like I do not have my phone, I'm working, I'm driving, or I'm walking around, then literally the tears start flowing out, and I have to take a moment, put down those thoughts somewhere so that I can revisit them. And there's no editing in my poetry at all, none at all. The way it comes, the way it flows, that's how you read it.
Now I would like Ms. Ismat to talk a bit about the book.
She's talking about words. So I think we can do a bilingual session here, can't we? Yes. पहली बात तो ये मदीहा के वोकैबुलरी की कोई कमी नहीं है इनके यहाँ. जैसे कि आपने भी खुद कहा, एक बेदरेग बेधड़क दलेराना इस्तेमाल है अल्फाज का आपके पास. And for that we must congratulate her, because that's a huge repertoire of vocabulary that she uses. She's a young woman writer in Pakistan and in a Pakistani society. There's somebody who's constantly talking over here. So,
can we have some silence, please?
खेलते हुए बातें नहीं करते हैं, और जब अदब पे गुफ्तगू हो रही हो तो बातें करना बेअदबी हो. कहना पड़ा. I was constantly watching. So, Madiha is a young Pakistani woman writing in Pakistani society. The constraints, the reservations, the boundaries, the straitjackets and shackles of our muashra. ये लिखना है और ये नहीं लिखना है, इन सब से आज़ाद हैं मदीहा. जब लिखती हैं तो ईमानदारी से शायराना पैराहे में ढल जाती हैं और घबराती नहीं हैं और ये नहीं सोचती कि लोग क्या कहेंगे, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे. So, do you consider yourself a feminist writer, or you would say that you are a humanist? Do you think your sentiments are specific to women only? Because it's a huge, titanic flow of sentiments throughout this composition.
You cannot be a feminist if you are not a humanist. So I consider myself as a humanist, someone who cares and who believes that each one of us, even this grass that we walk on, they need their own space. They need their own recognition. So all the very topics that you see in my book, they have emerged and they have taken place in this book because I believe that each and everything in this universe is ours and to be loved and to be savored.
Okay, so my next question is actually associated with this. I noticed this thing about your writing that most of your poems are odes. It's either an ode to nature, people, or events in your life. So you have this tendency to beautify things or find beauty in everyday ordinary life. You seem to appreciate and celebrate beauty. So is this a conscious choice in your poetry, or it just happens, it's your nature?
Do we have any other choice? I ask you, if we do not beautify and if we cannot smile and notice such little things, then what is beauty? A thing of beauty should be each and everything that is around you, that surrounds you. And that gives me stamina to live one more day. That gives me the energy to stay blessed, to feel blessed and stay happy. So that's what I bring out for the readers as well. A hope, a dream, a fantasy perhaps, perhaps a reason to live one more day, few more days, few more months in this chaotic world.
Excuse me, can silence please? And if you're not interested, can you please leave? The kids at the back. Okay. There's an interesting observation that I had when I was reading a review on your poetry. The review is by Arshad Wasim, and he says, she says, there is a red-hot passion for being in someone's thought, to be acknowledged and to be loved in Madiha's poetry. Can you please comment on this?
Okay. Red-hot passion. Okay. So if you are not red, you are not hot, and there's no passion, what is the reason to live? Give me a reason other than this. One has to be, no? Yes, there is.
Madiha, I think, is between two worlds. This is one world, right? And the other world is her own world. The world of flora, fauna, birds, beauty, rains, love, passion. If you follow her on the Facebook, this is what we can see constantly. And yes, with all this comes the suffocation. Hubs. भादों के मौसम में जो hubs का element है, the suffocation, the inexpressibility of the very helplessness of love. Are we reading it correctly, or or lack of it?
Of love.
Presumably your own experience?
As Dr. Sara has just rightly put, hot, passionate, red, yes, there will always be a lack of something in my life.
Because there's, I noticed that in your poetry there is this idea of idealized love that you have not. So, but then there is an element of harmony in when you write about the love you have experienced in your life. But then there's an other kind of love that you want to experience. And I thought this comment kind of gives an insight into that desire to fall in love so passionately and experience love.
Okay, I'm always in love. I am always in love. I'm in love with nature. I'm in love with people, even the furniture that adorns my home. So you cannot minus love from your life, and if you do, there would be no life for me. Idealizing love, yes, I think people who think a lot, people who feel too much, people who are sensitive to, more sensitive to things around them than the other people, and their chemical composition is different from whatever we want to call normal or abnormal or whatever, and it's normal for you. There would always be, I think there will always be this yearn to have more of something so sublime as love, as understanding, as harmony. And we do lack that around us, all around us. And especially nowadays with war-trodden world in Ukraine, in Palestine, Afghanistan, Pakistan, you name it and we have it. So we need more harmony, we need more peace, we need more love, more understanding. So why not? And I yearn for it, truly.
You have written a poem, Jerusalem, 7.5-page poem. And it is a prophetic composition because this collection was published in August 2023. And this most recent carnage and rampage and massacre that is happening and still continuing in Palestine started on the 7th of October last year. Do you call it a prophetic?
Okay.
And a huge body of references. Historical, political, poetic, huge body of references.
Belonging to a certain religion, of course, as in Islam, we do have references, recollections, memories of Jerusalem, Palestinians throughout our childhood, then in our youth, and again now as we are experiencing Palestine. So yes, all of a sudden, Isma, it came to my mind that I should write, and it started with the Exodus. Actually, Exodus was in my mind, and it started with that, and then it went on and on and on for 7 pages, and I just couldn't stop. And in fact, I had to literally cut it short in my head, in my heart, because I think I felt that it was not enough. As much as I wanted to say about Palestine, the Jerusalem, the Exodus, the atrocities, the war, it wasn't enough.
That's the sensitive poet in you, Hannah. For you, that it will never be enough. So I will move on to my question, and then we will get to the audience and give them a chance to interact with you. My final question is a very obvious one. Your book, one very interesting thing about this book is that every poem is accompanied by an illustration. And I just wanted to ask you if it's an aesthetic choice, or do you think this is your way of directing people towards certain interpretations, or is it just the trend that we see in Western poetry right nowadays, popularized by Rupi Kaur, Nikita Gill, and Nahira Waheed, where you give readers something to look at too, because this is our attention span now. Why did you take up illustration?
Okay, so people who know me know that I'm an artist. I did a degree in fine arts. So being an artist, I always thought that it is the best way of expression. Without saying any words, you are giving out expression to others and to yourself. So it was one of those reasons. Second, yes, I did it because I thought that now in the age of media and the lack of attention span, perhaps these drawings would attract a trend that I followed. No, that was not in my mind. But yes, I wanted to make my book attractive enough for all sorts of readers so that they should pick it up and, try.
Because this is
read.
something
Yes,
new for
yes,
Pakistani
yes,
poets
yes.
to add illustrations. So it is something that you can take credit for now, that
I
your
would,
book has it.
Madiha, I would like you to comment on this poem. It's just about 5 short lines. It's titled Redundant. Your ambitions are high, my aspirations too low. I don't know how we connect, my love, anymore.
Okay. Okay. So, in this worldly world, the doggy world, हमारी एस्पिरेशंस अब बहुत बदल गई हैं. हम उन मटेरियल चीज़ों की तरफ भागते हैं जिनका एंड कोई है ही नहीं, जो आपको बूढ़ा कर देती हैं वक्त से पहले, थका के मार देती हैं, और एक टाइटल के बाद दूसरा टाइटल, और उसके बाद फिर एक और स्टेटस, और उसके बाद एक और स्टेटस. इट्स लाइक अ फेसबुक, कि मेरी जर्नी है सक्सेसफुल, कि मैंने ये स्टेप कर लिया, ये स्टेप कर लिया, ये स्टेप कर लिया. असल में हमारा जर्नी है क्या?
Is it this poem redundant?
Yeah.
Is it a bureaucrat wife's lamentation in 5 short lines? 18 words summarizing the abyss and crevices that most wives fall into
Yes.
sooner than later?
No, actually, I think it is a lament of any sane person who believes that life is too extraordinary to be wasted on ordinary things.
Acha, I wasn't going to ask a question, but now that it has been mentioned, you have been mentioned as a wife. So I wanted to ask you, because what I saw in your poetry is individualism. It's about you. There's no reference to other people in your life, and it's quite focused on your thoughts. Do you think that your social status or your relationships really affect the way people interpret your work?
Yes, it does affect in many, many ways. But at the end of all our time, we were born alone and we will die alone, and we all have our individuality, and we do give a space. I believe in giving a space to the family also. And yes, there are many poems about my family. There's a poem about my son and his eyes. There's a poem about Arsalan, my husband. They are there, very much there, but definitely I'm an individual and I celebrate my individuality. Thank you. Yeah.
Now,
Okay, so now I will move on to the...
very important question. More important question. I think...
We have 5 minutes for the audience. I have to go to the
I'll
audience.
just take 1 minute. कोई भी काम जो लिटरेचर में आज लिखा गया या 500 साल पहले लिखा गया, उसकी एक बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट लाइफ फोर्स है उसकी रेलेवेंस, और उस रेलेवेंस से वो सरवाइव करता है, राइट?
Okay, now we will move on to the question answer session.
No, I haven't asked a question. So my question is, why do you think your work will survive? How long will it stay relevant? And hold on, अगले दिन हम एक सेशन कर रहे थे, एक बुक सेशन था, वो बांगे दरा पर था, और उस पे उन्होंने कहा, किसी रीडर ने कहा कि बांगे दरा रेलेवेंट नहीं, तो दूसरे रीडर ने कहा कि अपने वर्क को रेलेवेंट रखने की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी किसकी है?
I would like to just say one line. I too have been bruised by the beauty of words. So as long as there are emotions, as long as there are words, and as long as people would like to dream and make their life happy and love, and they can always connect globally, regardless of who they are, from where they are, what age groups there are in. And then the responsibility is not only mine to keep my work alive. I've put it there. I don't think it is anyone's responsibility, as long as there are readers, there are writers, and so it would thrive.
Very good answer. So now we will move on to the question session. Anyone who wants to ask Madiha a question? Yeah, sure.
Yes.
Audible otherwise, I think, yeah. So being from your fan club, right, we know that the content we see in the book is like 10% of whatever you have in yourself, in your mind. And in order to, just like the last question, in order to give the perpetuality to your brand, what other endeavors you have in your mind? Maybe something on the prose line, maybe a screenplay, something like that. So we're looking forward for that.
Okay, thank you so very much, Vikas. My next book is a prose, and it contains essays from my travels. It's not exactly a travelogue, but it will give you food for thought from all the places around the world that I've visited. So yes, I'm looking very much forward to that. And then 2 manuscripts of my 2 more anthologies of poetry are ready, and I am looking for a publisher.
Hi Madhya, Assalamu alaikum. To all of you. That was an amazing, enriching session today. And Madhya, I have yet to read your book, but I'm looking forward to it now. Not only are we friends, but I always feel that there is a spiritual connection when people who are like-minded or like-souled get together. तो मुबारक हो आपको आज.
बहुत शुक्रिया.
और दूसरी बात जो सवाल है मेरा आपसे वो ये है कि आप कोनिया गई थी रिसेंटली. वहाँ आप हज़रत रूमी के मज़ार पे थी, वहाँ से आपने मुझे कांटेक्ट किया. तो क्या जो आपके काम में, आपकी राइटिंग्स में स्पिरिचुअलिटी के स्पार्क्स फील होते हैं? How was it going there to such a spiritual place? Did you feel inspired to perhaps write about saints, to write about the spirituality in Islam that the West isn't aware of?
Thank you so very much. It's a very interesting question. Actually, spirituality is not only concentrated in one religion. It is out there for everyone, and whoever can embrace it and whoever can feel it and be there. Rumi has been on my mind for a very long time, as long as I've been composing this book. But I believe that love is beautifying your surroundings. That is my concept of love, and that's what Rumi did as well for us. And he's alive in us, all of us. And Allah hai bas pyar hi pyar. That's what we've been reading and singing since our childhood.